Well, hey parents, my name's Tim Holt. I'm your high school pastor, and I am here to tell you about some really exciting changes that are coming up in high school ministry. A couple months ago, I was on the computer and I was doing some high school ministry research, and what we found was through a lot of different organizations, they tracked high schoolers that went from high school to college. And what they ended up finding was that between 80 and 90% of high schoolers that became sophomores in college had by sophomore year dropped out of church. They weren't participating, they weren't there anymore. And so it was one of those things that Keith, me, and Matt put our heads together and we kind of sat down and decided, hey, we don't want to be that church. We want to be the kind of church where we're not just preparing your students for their 4 years in high school with us, we actually want to prepare them for life. We want to give them life principles and things that work going forward. And so we want to change up the structure of our program so that we can make that happen so that your student is better set for their adult years with Jesus. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to actually stop meeting on Saturday nights here at the end of July. The reason for that is, and you guys know here about Eastlake, is we are here to help students find and follow Jesus. And more importantly, we're here to help students find and follow Jesus. And part of that is, and we know that for a lot of you guys that come to Eastlake, you actually got invited by somebody. Well, for student ministries in particular, Saturday nights aren't the best night, as you probably know. We have family engagements, social engagements, you get all sorts of things like quinceañeras, you get holiday weekends where they gotta go away with families, and it's just hard to stay consistent as a high schooler on Saturday nights, even if they're the most committed kids. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to move off of that night and get them more plugged into the life of the church. So the first thing we're gonna do is on Saturday nights and on Sunday mornings, we're going to ask your students, instead of coming to a youth group service, we want them to actually start serving in church. So we're going to start a thing called daily missions, or DMs, which is what your students have on their Instagrams. But they're going to slide into their daily missions with Jesus, which means that on Saturday nights and Sunday mornings, I'll have more structure for this available for you later on. But we're going to have them serve in kids ministry, on the greeting team and the parking team. We want our high schoolers involved in the life of the church. It's kind of a little way to kick them out of the nest a little bit, because we believe that once they start serving and attending, then once they go to college, it'll be a lot easier for them to continue to attend and serve once they're in their college town. Now that begs the question, what are we going to do with youth group service? Because we do want to have a place for students to remain consistent. Well, you may have heard from your students by now that went to camp, but we are actually going to be moving to a Wednesday night schedule at 7 p.m. Our meetings are going to go from 7 to 8:30 with a little bit of pre-hang time at 6:30. But we really do believe that's going to be a cool space, because in the structure of your students' week now, we're going to have Saturdays and Sundays where they can get recharged and re-energizing by connecting with the heart of Christ and serving. And then in the middle of their week, they're gonna have a time to just kind of take a breather from all the homework and all the sports practices and all the social drama, and just come and be refreshed with Jesus. Just like we do on our Saturday night services, we're still going to have awesome student engagement. We're gonna have great student testimonies. We're gonna have amazing worship, hopefully great, because it's from me, biblical teaching. And we're also gonna have some great games for them to play and all that stuff. But really, our goal is to make this a Camp United service down here at home. So what we wanna ask for you is that you'd send your student, if they're available, at 7 o'clock, between 7 and 7:15, or at 6:30 if they're able to come, to our midweek services starting on July 31st. It's gonna be an amazing time. I really do believe in this service. I know that for some of your kids, this may be a really scary step to take. I mean, it's a large ministry, it's a large church, and something that I've heard from some parents is that on Saturday night services, sometimes my kid came in and sat alone. Sometimes they came in and they didn't really feel connected. I wanna tell you parents that we're tackling that head on with our midweek service. We already have at least 5 adults every night for the first 6 weeks planned to be there just for connections with students. We also have 8 student leaders committed to being there just to make sure no students sit alone, that every student has between at least 1 and 3 meaningful friendship building contacts with one another. We think this is going to be one of the best ways to get your student involved in a community that will grow deep and wide as they go throughout their high school years, and then even further that into their adult life. I know that this is not the easiest night for some people. I know that some people's practices get done at 7 or 7:15. We're telling students and we're encouraging you parents, send them to a sweaty, send them to a swollen like chlorine, send them to it with pen marks on their hands because they just got done with their homework. We will have deodorant sticks for them. We'll have Axe body spray for them. They'll be totally fine socially, but really get here. It's gonna be amazing, and we're really, really excited for what this is gonna do. One of the biggest things that we're excited about with Wednesday nights is that we know that we have 15,000 high school students within a 5-mile radius of us here here in this area, and we want to start reaching more of them. We believe that with the success of our Ox Clubs, we've been seeing 250 students a week come to our clubs on school campuses. We believe that it'll be so easy on those Wednesday clubs to say, hey, come with me to church on Wednesday night. We believe that this is going to start a movement of life change within your students' student ministry. And let me tell you, there's nothing more valuable to your student in their high school time than to begin to see God move in world-changing ways, because that will be what carries their faith forward. Parents, if you have any questions, you feel free to email me, shoot me a text, anything that you may need to do. We definitely want to get your student involved in any way that we can. And growth groups are going to stay the same, just so you know. But man, we are really, really excited for what God is going to roll out through our high school ministry this year. If you need anything, again, please let me know. But I'm Tim Holt, signing out. We'll see you guys soon, and see you on July 31st for Midweek.